In this tutorial, we're going to learn how to use columns in a double page spread, how to spread text across columns, and how to do some editing to enhance the text that we've used. Scroll down to the double spread following your front cover. Click on one of the pages, Ctrl-Alt-0 to center the pages. With the Layers palette open, add a new layer. To do that, you can click on the emblem down here, Create New Layer, or you can right-click New Layer. I want to drag my new layer to the bottom. I want to double-click on the layer and name it Pages 2 and 3. Pop my Layers palette back in again. I want to apply text to the left page, and then I'm going to have a graphic on the right page. To do that, I'm going to use a rectangular frame, but instead of going all the way to the edge of the page, I'm going to use the existing page guides that are there. I could make this frame go over the double spread or even halfway. It's your decision following your design. I'm just using the left page. I want to apply some text about fast fashion. That's what this article is going to be about. I went onto Google and found an article on fast fashion. I copy and pasted the information into a Word doc. I removed any formatting that was already there and also removed any hyperlinks that were there. I added in some information at the bottom and I edited some of the text to suit my needs. The information I added at the bottom is my acknowledgement of my source. I'm going to select all of this, Ctrl-A, Ctrl-C to copy. Go back to InDesign, select the Type tool, click into the frame, Ctrl-V to paste my text in. I'm going to select all of the text and pop open my Properties panel. I'm going to change my text using the font that I'm going to change the text to Roboto. I'm going to choose Roboto Light. I'm also going to increase it to 14 points. I'm going to select the title for the article, change its font to Roboto Black, and I'm going to increase its size so it spans the full width of a single page. The author's name, I'm just going to push down by one line, select it and change its font style as well, and I'm going to have that on a medium font, and I'd like to align that to the right. To put columns in, I need to go to the Selection tool, select the outer frame, and you can see it's selected because it's red, and then I can right click and look for text frame options or do Ctrl-V as my shortcut. If I increase this number here, it increases the number of columns on the page. And I can have as many as I like, but I think I'm going to stick with 2 for this article. And this gutter is the space in between the 2 columns. And I'd like that space to be the same as the space over here on the edge of the page. So I'm going to increase that to 50. Make sure preview is clicked so you can see what's going on. There's a couple of options you can choose here. There's a balance columns option. And what that does, it pushes your text around so it's even at the bottom. I'm going to click on OK. So right now I want to choose the title of my article and the author's name, and I want it to stretch across the 2 columns. So if I go to the T for Type tool, select the article title and the author's name. On the right hand side of your desktop, there's an icon that looks like a hamburger. It's just below the cog. Click on that icon and you're now looking for span columns. In the dialog box, you want to choose span columns and you can ask it to span all columns. You can also increase the space after the span. That's the gap between what you've selected for your spanning text and the body text. So I'm going to increase mine. I'll try 20. That doesn't look too bad. However, they're not even at the top, so I want to just put my cursor before my first word and hit delete to bring them up so they're even. I've got some more editing I'd like to do. I want to choose, there's 2 headings within my article. There's this one here, what is fast fashion? I'd like to increase the font size on that, and I'm going to increase that to 20. And I'm also going to change it to a bold. I'm going to do the same with the other heading that's down here. To enhance my text even further, I can select the text. I'm going to leave my source out of it though, because I'm happy with how that looks. And I'm going to justify my text. That means it has a straight edge down the right. So I'm going to choose the fourth button over in the paragraph section. Justify with last line aligned left. And you can see I've got straight lines going down the right side as well as the left. Now what also happens at this point is some of the words break and become hyphenated. So to stop that happening, make sure you've got your paragraph formatting controls open and then uncheck hyphenate. And you'll see there's some changes in how your formatting looks. Let's preview that by pushing W on the keyboard. It doesn't look too bad. It still looks a little crowded up the top here. So I'm going to increase the gap between the author's name and the body text. Push W to return the frames. Select my heading and author's name. Go back to span columns. I'm going to increase the gap until environmental impact jumps to the next column. Click on OK. I can also increase the gap between this paragraph and this paragraph. There's another paragraph I could increase the gap on here. And now I need to bring environmental impact back up again. So I want to select the source and just decrease its font by 2. It's not quite filling the page, so I'm going to go back to what is fast fashion, the heading. Go back to span columns. Reduce that gap back to 45. Select my source acknowledgement again. Change that font size to 12. I'm reasonably happy with how that looks. Some other adjustments I could make would be to select paragraphs of text and increase the gap in between the lines. So I've increased that up by 1 click, so it's gone to 17 points. So let's do the same for the rest of them. Now the advantage of doing that is it spreads our lines of text out a little bit further and makes them slightly easier to read. But you can see I need to do another adjustment up here. Just bring environmental back up and make sure I've got all of my source.